All right. Good morning, folks. My name is Courtney. I'm the education programmer with BCMPHA. I'm going to be here this morning, just acting as like tech support in the background. So if you have any questions, or concerns or tech issues, please, you can aggressively wave your hands, say something in the chat. All of those, however you can get your attention is fine by me. You're welcome to keep your cameras on or off. There'll be questions at the end or time for questions at the end, but if you are afraid that you're going to forget it, you're welcome to type it in the chat and I can help the presenters get to them and find them during that time as well. So yeah, welcome to the session. Excited to have you all join us, and I will pass the microphone over to Khaled to lead you through the session this morning. Thanks,
Thanks,
folks.
Courtney. Thank you. Morning, everyone. Yeah, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Khaled Isa. I'm the manager of data analytics at BCMPHA. I'm really glad to welcome you to the session on navigating the 2026 energy and carbon reporting for the city of Vancouver. Today, we're walking through everything you need to know about the 2026 reporting. This year is a big one for multifamily buildings. It marks the first time that buildings 50,000 square feet and above are required to report. So our goal today is to make sure you feel prepared and supported for this reporting cycle. Next slide, please. But before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathered today on the unceded ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We are grateful to live, learn, and work on these lands. And as we move through today's session, I invite us all to reflect on our responsibilities to reconciliation in our daily work. Next slide, please. I'd like now to introduce our presenters for today. First, we have Micah Lang, the team lead for large existing buildings with the City of Vancouver. Micah oversees the implementation of the annual GHG and energy limits bylaw, and he leads policy development to reduce emissions from existing multifamily and commercial buildings. We're also joined by Kasha Malling, Program Manager at Touchstone IQ. Kasha works closely with the City of Vancouver to support building owners through the implementation of the annual GHG bylaw. She helped hundreds of owners understand benchmarking requirements, resolve data issues, and prepare for reporting deadlines. And finally, we have Fatima Clemente, BCMPHA's Building Intake Coordinator. Fatima supports nonprofit housing providers through the full benchmarking and reporting workflow, from Energy Star portfolio manager setup to final submission through the city's reporting system. We're very lucky to have all three with us today. So let's have a quick look at the agenda. Next slide, please. So there's going to be two portions in today's webinar. The first portion will be delivered by Micah and Kasha, and then the last one will be presented by Fatima. So this is a quick roadmap for where we're heading today. We're going to start with a bit of background to highlight the major forces shaping energy and carbon reporting in Vancouver, and set context for why these requirements exist. Then we'll explain what the bylaw is, who it applies to, and what building owners or managers need to know. From there, we'll do a walkthrough of how reporting works in practice, and clarify what data is needed and where to get it. We'll also take a look at the city's Energize Vancouver hub, which has a ton of helpful guides and tools if you're feeling unsure about where to start. From there, we'll shift into the BCMPHA portion of the presentation and talk about the support we offer to nonprofit housing providers. We'll do a quick overview of our energy benchmarking process, and then have a short demo of the final reporting to the city. And finally, we'll open the floor for Q&As. So that's the plan. A mix of policy, guidance, and hands-on examples to help you feel ready for the 2026 reporting cycle. And now, without further ado, I'll hand things over to Micah. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you. As you can see, we've got a packed agenda, so I'll jump right in and give you a bit of background on why we're doing this. You can go to the next slide. So buildings are the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions in the city of Vancouver. So they're really important for us to set uh, sensible programs and policies associated with those in order to reduce those emissions. If you can go to the next slide. So back in 2019, City of Vancouver declared a climate emergency. And then shortly after that, we released our climate emergency action plan. Within that, we have our zero emission building retrofit strategy, which lays out uh, the major actions and initiatives that are going to take place for our existing building stock. One of the keystone pieces within that is to establish annual reporting and performance standards for the largest buildings in the city. If we can go to the next slide, which leads us to our annual greenhouse gas and energy limits bylaw. So this was the piece of um, this was the regulation that we put in place. City Council enacted this in 2022. It establishes energy and carbon reporting for the large commercial and multifamily buildings and hotels in the city, those over 50,000 square feet and larger than that are 4 stories and larger as well. And on the multifamily side, this includes purpose-built rentals, strata condominiums, non-market housing, co-op housing, other forms of multifamily housing. Go to the next slide. And so um, you're joining this webinar, you probably have some sense of what we're talking about, but just to say one more word here, this annual reporting process is also referred to as benchmarking. So it's a way that you collect data on your building, you look at it on an annual basis. So you're measuring both your energy use and your carbon emissions. By doing this in a consistent way year after year, you're able to compare it with historical performance. You're able to see how your building compares to other similar buildings, as well as how your building compares to important reference standards. And then the third one, this is really the most important one. It helps you identify areas for improvement. This is important for the building owner and operator. This is important for the city, for utilities, and many other interest holders in this space. Go to the next slide. When you zoom in at the different energy uses in a building, you start to understand like this large list of all of the areas and types of energy that are used, from electricity to gas, um, in some cases other forms as well, district energy. Some of your buildings may have solar on them. Some of them might have geothermal systems. Um, and when you add all this up, both at the suite level, those that residents or tenants are paying, um, as well as that the building is paying itself, it quickly becomes a really large number. And this is one of the reasons that we are doing this work, is because there's often a lot of operational savings that can be realized through uh, benchmarking your building, looking for efficiencies, looking for opportunities to reduce energy use. The other really important piece of this ties into your capital planning. Our presentation today doesn't talk about that next step, but it is really important because then you can start to look for opportunities to, when your major pieces of equipment come time for replacing them, you're able to choose something that maybe costs a little bit more upfront, but you'll recoup those costs uh, in multiple ways over time because you have lower energy costs because it's way more efficient. Or a slightly better building envelope, better windows can also lower your energy costs. So this process can help you in your capital planning as well. Next slide. Um, and this chart is just one example of one of the outputs that you can receive when you're benchmarking your building. There's a blue bar that's highlighted as if this is your building, and you can see how it compares among all the other buildings of a similar type in comparison to a reference standard. And those buildings that do report to the city, they receive an annual scorecard. A graphic like this is one of the components that is featured in those annual scorecards. Next slide. And so kind of to round out why we're doing this, I've already spoken about some of the benefits to building owners. From a public perspective, there's also opportunities to increase public health outcomes through having healthier, cleaner indoor and outdoor air. Uh, from a tenant or resident perspective, um, having more information about the building that they're living is helpful in terms of what the potential energy costs are going to be, as well as its performance. And then I've already touched on the importance for the city. This data helps us set better policies, allocate resources to support programs. For the utility companies, it's really important because they're able to have better data to inform their incentive programs as well. Next slide. Zooming out to the North American scale, this work that we're doing in Vancouver is certainly not unique. There's a number of jurisdictions in Canada and in the US who are undertaking annual reporting programs as well as have building performance standards. In British Columbia, we have a province-wide voluntary program that's been running for a number of years, Building Benchmark BC, and launching this year in the Capital Regional District. We have both Victoria and Saanich that have their mandatory reporting that's launching for the first time this year too. Next slide. Here in Vancouver, this is our third year of our program. This year in 2026, we're expanding so that multifamily buildings between 50 and 100,000 square feet will be reporting for the first time. This is about 600 additional buildings that are going to be reporting for the first time this year, making it a total of about 1,400 buildings that will be reporting to the city. Next slide. The final thing that I'll mention, and Keisha will talk more about this in a minute, is that if you want any more information on what I just went through, please visit our website. You can find backgrounders, detailed step-by-step guides, a link to the regulation itself, videos, other resources there. So I encourage you to visit our website if you haven't done so already. Next slide. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Keisha to walk you through the step-by-step on how to complete the process.
All right, thanks so much, Micah. Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and get started here. Next slide. Okay, so the energy and carbon reporting steps here. So this is kind of a big picture overview of all the different steps that you'll go through. So there's 7 steps that you'll go through, and the Help Center is happy to help you through any of these steps. The first step is going to be deciding who will submit the report. Now that can be the building owner, a property manager, strata, the tenant, a facility manager, anybody that's familiar enough with the building details with the property and who has access to that energy data or who can obtain that energy data for reporting. The second step is accessing Energy Star Portfolio Manager. So this is one of 2 software platforms that are used to submit your report to the city. So the Energy Star Portfolio Manager platform is essentially where you store and upload your information. So that's your building details and your energy usage. So your building details include the year the building was built, the gross floor area, occupancy details, and property use types. And then you'll also store your energy usage here through auto upload, manual, or spreadsheet upload for your electric, natural gas data or any other energy use at that building. The third step is just uploading that data into Energy Star. So I'll go into this in a little bit in more detail, but essentially for BC Hydro, they have a service where you can set up auto upload in your Energy Star account. They can aggregate all of your utility meters and upload that into your account, which is super convenient and way faster than you uploading every single meter manually. They can do that for you. Also, we want you to upload all of your data for natural gas, solar, wind, hot water, district energy, any energy that's used to power your building. For the data that we want, that's essentially, so if you're submitting for the first time this year, we want January 1st through December 31st of 2025. And if you have overlapping bills from 2024 or into 2026, that's totally fine. Just upload all bills that include any date range within 2025, and we'll pull that data when you submit your report. So just make sure it's all 365 days of 2025 and you're good to go. The fourth step is connecting and sharing your Energy Star account with the City of Vancouver. So this is essentially a friend request to the City of Vancouver telling us like, hi, like we have created an account and we're connecting with you. This bridges the gap between the first software, Energy Star, with the second software, which is called the portal or the hub, where you will be submitting your report. That's where you can review different forms, and we'll go over that in a second. So step 4, connecting and sharing with the city. And then step 5 is creating your account in that second software platform, which is the building performance reporting system. So that's simply creating your own login, claiming your building, which is saying, I'm reporting this building, and then submitting your report. You can also apply for exemptions, extensions, review past reports and the data you submitted on this platform. So essentially, this is a one-stop shop for submitting your data, storing past information in external forms, such as that exemption and extension form. The sixth step is completing that building performance reporting system form. Essentially, this is completing a couple sections where you're confirming that you entered your data in accurately as possible, and just some extra questions for you just to make sure that your data that you're reporting is the most accurate representative of your building energy. So just please note on here that section 3, if you're a residential building that does not contain office and retail 100,000 square feet or more, you can skip section 3. Section 3 is specifically designed for buildings that are subject to the energy limits. So those are the buildings that are office and retail 100,000 square feet and larger. So if that's not your building, skip section 3 and go straight to 4, which is where you submit your report. And then step 7 is essentially just reviewing, making sure everything looks good on your report and as accurate as possible, and then submitting your report for that year. When you do submit your report, it does come to us immediately, and you should receive a email right away that confirms whether or not your building is in compliance or in pending revisions. Pending revisions means that you have some errors in your report that you need to fix and resubmit after you fix those reports. If you have any questions on that, of course, reach out to the help desk and we can help you navigate those challenges. Next slide. So if you want to read more on the requirements of the bylaw, you can read it here at the Energize Vancouver website. And then you can also sign up for our program newsletter here at the vancouver.ca/Energize Vancouver subscribe. So we'll send out some reminders and newsletters through that. We'll also send you, once we have your contact information through the help desk, we can also send you reminders for reporting and communicate via that platform. Next slide. So before getting started, before you log on to your Energy Star, create your account, essentially you need a couple important things to upload your details for your building. So the first one is obtaining your Vancouver building ID. So this is unique to each building. Each building has its own building ID. It starts with the letter V as in Vancouver, followed by 5 numeric digits. So for example, V12345. In order to find your Vancouver building ID, you can either reach out to the help desk or you can use our Vancouver ID lookup tool. The challenging part about the lookup tool is some buildings have multiple addresses, right? So the address that the city assigns the ID is what is on the tax assessor. So if your address is different than what is on the tax assessor for that property, you might not be able to find it right away. So my best advice is to try the address that you know it as in the lookup tool, and then try the other variants of the address in that lookup tool to see if you can find it. If you're still having issues finding it, reach out to the help desk and we can narrow that down for you right away. Identifying your gross floor area is also important. For residential buildings, you can also use gross leasable area. You can find this information in your strata plan, blueprints, permits, or in your rent roll. And gross floor and gross leasable area should include your common areas and all of the leasable area that you have at that building. And if you struggle to find that, reach out to the help desk and we can help you figure out how you can identify what your gross floor area is. Your built, this is usually on blueprints or other documentation where you can also find your gross floor or gross leasable area. For property use types, this is essentially any and all property use types that you have at your building. So sometimes we'll have buildings where it's 10 floors of residential with a floor of commercial with a coffee shop or a restaurant. You'll want to make sure that you include all property use types in Energy Star so that you represent the whole of your building completely. There are many property use types to choose from in Energy Star that you can select. Also, on a side note there, if you have EV chargers at your building, you'll want to add that as its own property use type. It's kind of weird that it is its own property use type, but that's how Energy Star sets it up. So if it's metered with your building, you want to definitely add that property as a property use type in Energy Star to account for that energy use at that building. Occupancy details. This can stump people often. Occupancy is essentially your building operations. So during 2025, was your building in full operation, operating as normal? If so, that's 100% occupancy. If your building was only operating at half occupancy because half of your building was undergoing renovations or it was shut down for some reason, then your occupancy would be 50% and so on. And then the last one here is energy use data. So like I mentioned before, this is electric, natural gas, solar, wind, hot water, district energy, anything that you use to power your building. You want to make sure that you include all 365 days of 2025 in your account. You can obtain this information from your utility by contacting them directly. For BC Hydro, you can set up auto upload and they can aggregate and upload that into your account for you. Next slide. So this is a nice breakdown of how to get your utility data. This is probably the most common question besides gross floor or gross leasable area that we get at the help desk. So as you can see here on the right, this is a nice table of the utility and their contact information. When you do reach out to them, let them know that you're reporting for the Vancouver bylaw, so they have some context on why you're reaching out for that data. But essentially, this is everybody's contact information per utility in Vancouver. There's 3 different ways to upload your utility into Energy Star. As I mentioned, auto upload, which BC Hydro offers. They do have a great website where they have the how-to guide and then also a couple videos on how to set up auto upload in your Energy Star account. This is super great, and you only have to do this once. So you don't have to do this every single year. You only have to do auto upload once in your account, and then it'll constantly upload your electric data into there year after year, which is super great. So oftentimes the first year of reporting can be a little bit tricky, just setting this up. And then from then on out, it gets a lot easier. The other two ways are manual or spreadsheet upload. If you do request a spreadsheet from your utility, you can use that to upload into your account manually or through a spreadsheet that's formatted for Energy Star upload. If you have any questions on your utility account, obviously, contact your utility directly. Please also reach out to the help desk and we can help you navigate certain things like BC Hydro, auto upload, or other questions that you may have about uploading into Energy Star. Next slide. All right, so resources. So on that website down there that's listed, we have a lot of resources for you. So we have a step-by-step how-to guide. It's pretty in-depth. It holds your hand from, start to finish. And that's navigating through Energy Star, connecting and sharing with Vancouver, the city of Vancouver, and then navigating through that building performance reporting form. We also have how-to videos. If you're a visual learner, these how-to videos are super great. They're broken down into the different steps of reporting so that you can pause and play whenever you want and just work through that process as you see fit. We also have some FAQs, so there are a lot of frequently asked questions that folks have, and those are on our website with all the frequently asked questions that we've gotten over the years. We have some quick guides too, if you like the short and to the point how-to guides, and we have webinar recordings. The webinar recordings are super nice because, a lot of people have the same questions. So at the end of each webinar, we have a Q&A, just as we do for this webinar. And a lot of people like to ask super in-depth questions that aren't covered during the webinar. So that's super helpful just to see what other questions people have and where they're kind of confused or where they're hung up on certain things. And we have other resources on there also, so feel free to check it out and explore, and obviously reach out to us if you have anything else that you have questions on. Next slide. All right, and then here, this is just kind of saying that, the reports are due June 1st. So every year since the program has been running, the due date has been June 1st annually. So I highly, highly encourage folks to get started on the reporting process as soon as possible. It does get super busy during the benchmarking season, especially in March, April, and May. So the sooner you reach out to us to schedule a call, as you can see in the QR code here, then we can get you started on that process and answer your questions. Also with BC Hydro, they get a lot of requests for aggregated data, right? Because everybody has BC Hydro for electric. So it's good to get started on that sooner than later. If you wait till March or April to start that aggregation, it can take 1 to 2 months to get your data. So that is very important to remember. It can take a very long time if you start too late, and you might miss the deadline if you start too late in the game. Our email is here, the energy carbon report at vancouver.ca, and our phone number is there also. Email is the best way to get a hold of us because then we can provide you more information, and you can obviously schedule a call with that QR code in the upper right-hand corner. Next slide. And that's the end of my section. I'll pass it off to Fatima to take on this next section.
Thanks so much, Kasha. Good morning, everyone. Again, I'm Fatima and the Building Intake Coordinator of BC Nonprofit Housing Association. And today I'll be walking you through how we support nonprofit housing providers with the City of Vancouver's energy reporting requirements and how our process make compliance straightforward and efficient. So here's the overview of the full support BCNPHA provides to make compliance easier. We have two parts for the support, the benchmarking and reporting. Under the benchmarking part, We have the intake and ESPM items, while the reporting consists of BPRS items. Last year, we supported submissions for more than 10 multifamily buildings with over 100,000 square feet. And I'll take you through each step to understand what we handle and what we need from you. So let's start with the intake items. This is where we gather the foundational information we need before we set up your ESPM account. We have the letter of disclosure and the building and utility info file. So first, we'll need you to sign the letter of disclosure. This authorizes PCNPHA to create your ESPM account, to access the building's utility data on ESPM, and maintain it for data quality checks. You still retain the full ownership of the ESPM account. We'll just simply administer it as long as we have access to the account. Next is the building and utility info file. This form gives us the essential building details and utility metering information we need to set up your profile correctly. So for each building, we need the key attributes like the name, the address, building type, how many floors above ground does it have, the number of units, and the total GFA or gross floor area. These details allow us to create an accurate building profile in ESPM. We also need to know your metering setup, whether the building is all electric or if electricity or gas is separately metered. This will determine how we structure building meters in ESPM. The instructions in the file outlines everything you need to provide, so including the latest copy of the utility bills and architectural drawings if available. We will review the documents and follow up with you if we need to aggregate the residential unit meters. With the utility bills, we need the most recent copy of the bills. Also, please include all the pages when you send us the copy of the bills. We need the details such as the account number, the meter number, and the point of delivery with Fortis PC. With BC Hydro, on the other hand, it only allows us to connect meters using bills from the two most recent cycles. Also, depending on your BC Hydro rate, metering setup, and the number of units, some buildings may require a signed BC Hydro third-party authorization form. This form allows us to request a MERV code so we can aggregate tenant electricity consumption. This ensures the whole property's energy consumption is accurately captured. Now, once the intake items are complete, we'll move to the ESPM items, which are the account creation, the building addition, data quality checks, and sharing the building profile with the city. After we gather all the documents that we need from you, we'll start the ESPM process by creating Society's account, verifying it, sending connection requests to BC and PHA's ESPM account, to BC Hydro, and Fortis BC if applicable. After the account setup is complete, we can start adding building profiles to the account using the information you provided in the building info file, like the name of the building, the address, the type of the building, how many floors above ground does it have, and the total gross floor area. Once the building profile is set up, we can start adding the energy meters. So BC Hydro and Fortis BC under commercial rate can be connected directly to the web services on ESPM. Also, please note that it takes about 24 hours for the meter connection request to be accepted by them. Once connected, meters will update automatically each billing cycle. And for other utility providers, we have to upload data manually. So here's an example of what a successful connection looks like. On the rightmost column, you can see BC Hydro and Fortis BC automatically updating the meters through their web services as new billing data becomes available. We also run data quality checks to make sure everything looks right, like there's no missing months, no overlapping entries, and no drop connections. These checks are run on an ongoing basis to ensure the site is ready for the following year's reporting. We also need to update the Vancouver building ID in ESPM. This is going to be the key identifier linking ESPM to BPRS. Once that's entered, we'll share the building and its energy meters with the City of Vancouver. So with the ESPM complete and shared, we're going to move to BPRS platform where the city's compliance report is submitted. So we claim each property in BPRS using the BCNPHA's BPRS account. This will ensure all buildings appear together on our reporting dashboard for management and submission purpose. And once the property is claimed and required details are verified, we can submit the energy report. I can show you a demo for report submission on BPRS for one of the buildings that we reported last year. This is the second year we are reporting for them, so the steps are much simpler than the first year of reporting. Okay, so for the 2026 reporting, we are going to submit the data collected from January 1 to December 31, 2025. Submit. So as you can see, the ESPM connection is connected. We can also see the other building details here, like the building address, the Vancouver building ID, the total gross floor area, the type of the building, and the data collection period, which is from January 1 to December 31, 2025. So on the first tab, it says the gross floor area needs to be verified. I just wanted to mention that this is the second year that we are going to report for this building, so all the details has been verified. So I'm just going to do the verification. Verified. The Vancouver building ID has also been verified. The property use has also been verified. And just save and continue. So for the district energy and shared meters, this building is not connected to to any district energy meter, so that's a no. It also does not share any energy meters with other buildings, so that's also a no. I can confirm, save and continue. So for the third one, qualifying energy, adjustment for carbon and heat energy limits. For the residential buildings, we don't have any GHG limits, so we're just going to save and continue on this one. And for the fourth tab, we're not going to opt in on society's behalf, so I'm just going to submit my data. And the thank you pop up. And that's it. The report has been submitted. So after the submission, we will receive the building and compliance email from Energize Vancouver. This is the example of an email that we received for submitting the report from last year. The email includes the building ID, the address, and the next reporting deadline. To summarize, BCNPHA manages the full compliance cycle, from reviewing the intake items, creating society's account, and building profiles on ESPM, conducting data quality checks, sharing with the city, claiming it on BPRS, and the final submission. After the first year, the process becomes even smoother since most of the setup is already complete. It will focus primarily on data quality checks and submitting the report. So here's a quick checklist for the things we need from you if you require any assistance from us. If you have any questions, need clarifications, or need the copy of the letter of disclosure, the building and utility info, feel free to reach out for us on our benchmarking email, benchmarking@bcnpha.ca. We're ready for any questions.
I think you're muted, Courtney.
I always forget I double mute myself. My apologies. I'm so terrified that I always end up muted. Does anyone have any questions for any of the facilitators this morning? You're welcome to raise your hand and ask. Type in the chat if you don't feel like unmuting yourself. However they come in is welcome through us. Question from Aaron. Will we be automatically contacted by PCMPHA or do we need to reach out to start the process?
I can take this one if you want. Yeah, so yeah, we are reaching out to the societies and nonprofits with buildings that appear in the covered buildings list from the city of Vancouver. We started some targeted outreach, I think a couple of weeks ago, and we're doing another larger outreach by the end of this week. One thing to kind of keep in mind is, yeah, just like Keisha mentioned, like we want to start sooner than later, but we're also aware that for the submission to go through without any hiccups, we do need all of 2025's data to be in. And depending on your billing cycle, sometimes that doesn't happen till like late February, maybe even early March. But yeah, but we want to get things set up early on, and then once we verify all the data is in, we can move ahead with the last part of the reporting process through the city's BPRS. But yes, to answer your question, we are doing targeted outreach to the societies.
Thanks for that. Any other questions, folks? All right, I'm not seeing any come in. I always give a long pause because I know typing takes longer than asking. But if there are no more questions, we will wrap up the session for today. I wanted to give a big thanks to all of our speakers today. We will be the last to leave. If there's any questions you want to ask, like one-on-one or things, we'll always be the last to leave the room. So you're welcome to linger in the background. But thanks very much for joining us. It was great to see everyone.